Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and I'm bringing you this video and supporting blog from the beautiful west of Ireland, focusing as part of our November 2021 Starwheel Astrology and Healing newsletter on the huge Uranus square Saturn transit. What form will your revolution take now? Because the nature of the Uranus square Saturn transit is just that, revolution. So please do see the very detailed offering of all the current astrological energies for November in the main astrology blog for November. And like all my work, it draws on both Vedic astrology and also psychodynamic Western astrology. But this is, as it were, an add-on which focuses just on the huge Uranus square Saturn transit. Now note that the consequences of the Uranus transit square to Saturn will be of a revolutionary nature, even an earthquake nature, both in our personal lives and also at the social, structural level and the economic level. But also it's so important to note, as the case example I'll be going into below shows, that little things can actually add up to big things and be crucial piece of the jigsaw. And the crucial thing to know is that the final of the 3 Uranus square Saturn hits is reached on the 24th of December this year. And the square aspect's explosive tension is growing all through this month of November 2021, and of course getting bigger still in next month, December 2021. But first of all, before I focus on the detail of the Uranus square Saturn transit and on a very interesting in-depth case example, I feel it is important for me to just briefly mention the wider current context of this great revolution square aspect. So actually, I think it'll be very helpful to you if I make 6 introductory brief points first to give you the context of this particular energy thrust. And then I will delve more deeply into the meaning of the Uranus square Saturn transit, and indeed mention how revolution can come to each of us and to our societies like adding the pieces of a jigsaw, even when a tiny seeming piece can actually end up playing a special part in the creation of the final total picture. So looking through the 6 contextual points, well, I believe that the big energies we're feeling now were actually kicked off by the Pluto square Mars transit that was exact on the 22nd of October, on the day Mars entered its difficult, messy transit into the sign of Vedic Libra. And so if you look at the associated blog, you will see the train crash of Mars energies that will affect us all. And secondly, this fraught energy pattern continues further when Mars transits into the next sign, Scorpio, from December the 5th to January the 16th, with Mars going through energy fields created by earlier eclipses. Indeed, Mars transiting into the big, deep energy of the Sun, Mercury, Ketu conjunction that is building up at 6 Scorpio, which I go into elsewhere in the main blog post all about the November energies. But thirdly, the third contextual point is that a new kid is on the block. Jupiter is closing on Neptune in the heavens, a steadily growing manifestation that grows to exact conjunction on the 13th of April 2022. And that, well, Jupiter-Neptune positively is wonderfully spiritual and visionary, but negatively it encompasses speculation, deception, seducibility, conflict between vision and reality, inclination to speculate, all sorts of things that we will see coming in. The fourth contextual point I want to mention is that the Sun is going to be conjunct Ketu, the South Node, on the 23rd of November at 7 Scorpio. A weak, unappreciated, nothing is real, prone to downfall energy that we may well be very sensitive to. And fifthly, while all this is growing, the Pluto return of the USA is growing, becoming ever vaster, ever more pervading. So much darkness will have to rise by the time of the first exact hit in May 2023, when Pluto returns for the first time to the position Pluto occupied on the date the USA was formed. Ideally, all this darkness, which must and will rise, will be honoured and healed, so that true and right power can grow in the consciousness of the USA. But lastly, sixthly, please do note that all this divisive and violent energy, plus the deceptive energies, these will all tend to fan yet further the unfortunate social and political, even military confrontationism that is so ridiculously dominating our times, that humans are becoming so increasingly addicted to, it seems, particularly over the last 2 years, for example. So having stated the context, we now want to focus on the revolution square of Uranus to Saturn that's gathering now in the heavens. And as I say, it moves to its third and final exact on the 24th of December. Saturn will be at 16 Vedic Capricorn. Uranus will be at 16 Aries. This will obviously have a massive effect on people with planets in Capricorn and Libra, especially if the closer the planets are to the 13 degrees. But it will also obviously have a huge effect on Cancer people who receive an opposition from Saturn and a square from Uranus, and on Libra people who receive an opposition from Uranus and a square from Saturn. This energy is one of Uranus, the planet of revolution, which was discovered at the time of the storming of the Bastille, smashing himself against Saturn, super strong in Capricorn, the sign he rules, where positively Saturn, as always, represents our needed structures and strategies in our life, and the needed doing of our needed karmic duty, the carving of proper strategies and pathways forward, the hard work of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, which will lead to golden reaping if we do it right. But Saturn also represents our blocks, our prison walls. The defects in our awareness impose these blocks and prison walls on ourselves in this human incarnation. And here we now have Uranus smashing against what are actually mindset created and programming self-imposed imprisonments and blocks. It sounds like a wonderful opportunity, but us humans find we want to cling to our blocks and prison walls so often. Now, in terms of the nakshatras, the supremely wonderful declaration of Vedic astrology, the 27 lunar signs, This great square affects especially Shravana, Bharani, Pushyami and Swati. Now, I want to return now to the principle I mentioned earlier on about how revolution can come to each of us and to our societies like adding the pieces of a jigsaw. And the important point is that even a tiny seeming piece can play a special part in the creation of your final picture. And so as a case example, I'm now mentioning a small piece that unexpectedly came into my life and that actually indeed brings positive revolution to so many other pieces that are being added to my life jigsaw now. This may be helpful food for thought for you. What's being added to your life jigsaw now? So Maggie went across the road last week to the home repair garage. There are only 5 inhabited buildings in our tiny hamlet in the remote and beautiful west of Ireland coastland. And she asked the lovely mechanic there, she settled a bill with the mechanic, and he asked Maggie if we would like to take the puppy that his dog had given birth to 6 weeks earlier. Maggie fell totally in love with the puppy. And the puppy is a beautiful collie retriever cross, and Maggie couldn't resist. Well, I drew a tarot card to see what it might mean if we took the puppy in. And the card I drew is that we would have increased contact with nature. And I obviously saw that as good, so it would be taking the dog out for walks in the beautiful nature around here. And I need that. And that's because of other factors, other pieces in my current jigsaw. So, not least, it was said to be essential that I get more exercise according to a Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland joint brain diabetes study I was randomly selected for a few months ago. But also according to some recent tests I had at the local hospital a week ago. And they both said it will help my health and fitness if I lose a bit of weight. And of course, taking the dog for a walk in the beautiful remote countryside will mean I'll lose the needed, say, half stone or even stone, and of course be fed and healed and calmed by the ancient rocks and shores and forests. So although wondering if I could cope, I agreed. Now you might think that bringing in a puppy is just a rather small part of a jigsaw. It seems that so much astrology is ranting about huge political catastrophes these days. But that's a misrepresentation of astrology. And already I've shown you that it activates the other parts of the jigsaw when you add even an apparently very small seeming piece. And definitely it has already turned out and become apparent that the apparent addition of the small piece of the beautiful puppy has clicked in other pieces, bringing in fact, a needed revolution. So let me just mention what happened. So the puppy arrived last Thursday, October the 26th, and her name is Kira. And it turns out, surprisingly, she's devoted to me. And the touch of my hands stills and delights her. I remember how it was said that I had healing hands when I worked at the Plymouth Healing Centre in England a dozen years ago. But actually, and surprisingly, the puppy raised some difficult issues for Maggie. And this was partly because Maggie took on board some puppy training videos all about techniques but these had a somewhat aggressive, bossy edge to them, and the puppy responded by fighting back. So, as the resident puppy guru that you can see I am, I now am calming things down, and it seems you can't actually believe everything you read about on Google. But deeper than that, the puppy's almost biting at times response to Maggie raised a deep fear in her, and raised also aggression issues, all with their place in childhood. And indeed, it's important to say, another piece of the jigsaw, these surfaced in a dream she had this morning, where she encountered Kira, who was accompanied by a black bear and an even larger dark creature. Now, dreams are actually truly important guides as to what is going on for us. I have been on a dream interpretation course, and I've got a postgraduate qualification in psychology. And the thing about dreams is that it's so important to develop the fragmentary memory we often have of a dream we've had. So you can actually center and go into a dream deeper and revisit the people or things in that dream that you've had and get those people and things to speak further. And it is amazing to me what absolutely crucial and deeper meaning there can be in a dream. A dream that actually seems inconsequential from what you wake up with and remember of it, until you go into it deeper and do the dream work. So here we have the arrival of a little puppy bringing the opportunity for needed childhood healing. Another piece of the jigsaw, actually very important. And also we have the arrival of a puppy bringing health and fitness revitalization, and the arrival of the puppy bringing better contact with the beautiful countryside, and the arrival of the puppy bringing better ongoing physical health. And also I do believe my work will benefit, as I do feel it gives me the chance to become more vitalized, empowered and authentic. Weirdly, the case is at this time that it coincides with me actually reopening our new student intake in our Master Vedic Astrology course. Different levels of courses in Vedic Astrology with Western Psychodynamic Astrology crossover. And we're reopening entry in November. Watch this space. I had to close entries and renew re-enrollments about a year ago because of numbers overload. But I'm now reopening the Master Vedic Astrology courses. Watch this space. And the weird coincidence that makes me share this with you includes the coincidence that of the tutors involved, we all have major planets in the exact signs activated by this transiting Uranus square Saturn. Uranus in Aries, Saturn in Capricorn, where Saturn, of course, aspects Cancer and Uranus aspects Libra, and more than that. Two of us have ascendant in Cancer. Two of us have Sun or ascendant in Libra. One of us has Moon in Capricorn. One of us has Rahu in Aries. And the big one, 4 of us have major planets in Swati Nakshatra in Libra, namely, between the 4 of us, ascendant, a Mercury-Pluto conjunction, Ketu, and Sun. So each of these jigsaw bits have the potential, if grasped, to positively create a beautiful path forward. So I'm sharing this with you. I'm sharing my personal story of how taking in a puppy is one piece of the jigsaw that has a much bigger effect on the other pieces in my life jigsaw than I or you might have expected. So, the big question: what revolution change is coming in for you at this time of the close of 2021? And the even bigger question may be, what revolution change needs to come in for you at this time of the close of 2021? You can get in touch with me for an astrology reading. Go to the buy page on my Starwheel astrology website. You can indeed shortly enroll on our Master Vedic Astrology courses. So, I hope this has been of inspiration and value for you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.